The Flash in danger amid Ezra Miller problems. Yeah, I'll bet. So, with the latest, after the burglary accusation and charges, now there's this business of Vermont's Child Services Department trying to locate a mother and 3 children who live with Miller at his home. But apparently Miller responded, stating they haven't lived there for a while. Rolling Stone reports the Vermont State Attorney's Office said Miller's response seemed like an attempt to evade service of the order. So they're not confident in his response. Now, hopefully, the best outcome of this, of course, is that this woman had enough of Miller and took her kids and left, and they're fine. They're just somewhere else, and that would be great. But each news story gets more and more dark and disturbing, and this is what people are afraid that there's all this smoke. And you just, I hope there's not really any fire there. Things are getting exaggerated or what have you. But it's an awful lot of smoke. And it's just not looking so great. So hopefully they find the lady and her kids and they're fine. But meanwhile, the movie. So the Hollywood Reporter says that Warner Brothers Discovery and CEO David Zaslav are contemplating the following 3 scenarios to deal with the situation. So let's go through them, and I'll see which one I think is the more likely. So the first is that Ezra Miller will seek professional help after returning home to his farm in Vermont after being away, where as of late he has been accompanied by his mother. Now, I've already thought that it was stated that he was in some sort of rehab, and in between that, he had done some reshoots for the Flash film. But I don't know if that's confirmed or not. In the midst, when all these terrible stories started coming out, and they just started snowballing, so already there's kind of a knock against this scenario. But if he does get some help and it goes well, says if that happens, Ezra Miller could do an interview explaining his erratic behavior and then go on to do press for the Flash movie. Well, that sounds like a kind of a dangerous idea because he's never. With each interview he's done, he you could see this now looking at it. You realize it's not just his I'm a goofy guy type act. He seemed to be deteriorating as he went. There's that rather famous or infamous, if you will, interview he did with Gal Gadot for Justice League, and you could tell she was not that comfortable. And she kind of, she was the adult in the room and had to rein him in with all his wild stuff. But just thought, well, he's just this goofy idiot. Since then, no, there's something far more serious. And based on other stories that apparently on the set, he showed some rather disturbing erratic behavior in the sense that he had almost like a fugue state where he didn't quite know why he was there or what he was doing and this sort of thing. If that's the case, that's how far down he spiraled. It sounds akin to like schizophrenia or something like that. And probably, no doubt, made worse by drugs and alcohol and trying to self-medicate his problems. And may have done far more damage to where he can't come back, So even if all the dark stories turn out not to be so much, that there's no fire where there's smoke, they would still have the problem here that I don't know that he can function, and putting him in front of a camera, it's not going to happen. So I'm extremely dubious that this scenario plays out, even though don't quite know if all the charges or the accusations against him are 100% accurate. There's still his own mental abilities seem to be somewhat, they're not great. So, yeah, don't really think that one happens. Scenario 2. Well, this one I've all long thought was the most likely. The second scenario is that if Ezra Miller doesn't reach out for help, even if he does, I would, like I said, season number 1 and my thoughts on that, it might not go well. Or it could take a lot longer than just in time for your movie debut. You know, it doesn't work that way. So, you know, either or. The Flash could still get released, but Miller wouldn't be involved in the press tour or with promoting the film, and the role would be recast for future films and appearances. Yeah, and the recasting probably goes with scenario 1 as well. You know, depending on how well he comes back, and again, how much of the charges and whatnot it turned out not to be as bad as we thought. So there, the scenario would be that, you know, Michael Keaton and maybe Ben Affleck would promote the film, and, you know, Sasha Calle and all that. And that's what they would do. But then it puts them on that position. You know, the first question they're going to be asked. It's just like, and all they can do is the patent response of, well, you know, wish him well, hope he gets better, and we really need to you know, look for help for mental illness and stuff like that. In between, boy, it was great getting back in the bat suit, you know, stuff like, you know, it's just going to be very awkward and uncomfortable. And it could be that nobody promotes it. It's just trailers and stuff. There's no red carpet stuff, no premiere. Just get it out there, you know, because it's just all bad. But I think, barring any other disturbing stories, and the ones we already have seem to pan out to not be so bad, this would be the obvious go-to thing. I've heard others suggest they just kind of rebrand the whole thing as a Batman movie, like it's the Batman Paradox, rename it and stuff to where it's not a Flash movie, but as is, it's a Flash movie. You know, it's just guest starring Batman and Supergirl and all that. So the third scenario, well, it would be that if the Ezra Miller situation continues to get worse, yeah, the Flash movie would be scrapped in its entirety and wouldn't get released. Miller plays multiple characters in the film, so the flick couldn't be reshot. I don't agree with that. It's physically able to be reshot. The problem in the way is, which would see a huge $200 million loss. Yeah, in order to reshoot his performance in it, the expense would be great. I mean, the $200 million movie is probably the conservative estimate. Reshooting it for his part would easily push it over $300 million, probably. And Lord knows he would probably have to involve the other cast members to come back and perform in that as well. All that stuff, it just adds more to it. They're holding on to it, even though with the cancellation of Batgirl and reshooting Aquaman to where Ben Affleck takes over for Michael Keaton's scenes in that movie. It's like, well, then why do the Flash movie anymore anyway, since the whole point was that movie reset the DCEU through the time warp shenanigans of the story and reboots their film franchise. But since you got rid of the scenes that would connect it to it, and you got rid entirely of the Batgirl movie, why continue on with it? Well, unlike the Batgirl movie, a lot of the screen tests seem to agree that it's a good movie, and it's pretty good. And whatever plan they have or direction they want to go probably involves multiverse narratives. And most of all is whatever deal they have with Michael Keaton. It might be much better, well, obviously it would be much better to get the movie out. But you got this disaster sitting there in the midst of it. And they might have to just pay out Michael Keaton for a film that he was in that's not going to be released, and then all these other cameo deals and stuff. And maybe that was supposed to lead to another movie with him in it. I don't know, but not anymore. You know, so it would have to be something like that. But as it states, could it get worse? Yes, it could. And if that's the case, especially this latest story, if God forbid, it turns out something really bad happened to that woman and her children, well, yeah, instantly this is over. And the movie goes into the vault, and no one ever sees it again. And they'll have to start over with a new Flash later. Which, if that doesn't happen, and it's unworkable with Ezra and all of that, you end up reshooting it, because the idea would be that you're going to replace the Flash anyway. You don't have the Ezra Flash movie. You're going to do another Flash movie at a later date, and it's this new actor. Well, you might as well just reshoot this one with the new actor. And, gee, let's hope that Black Adam, Shazam 2, and Aquaman can bring in, I don't know, $3 billion. And then you have a surplus to fix the Flash with a new actor. And there's really no good scenario here, other than, hopefully, like I said, the dark parts of these stories turn out not to be so much. It's looking less likely as we go forward. And then scenario number 2, I think, would be the one that ends up being where they go. But anything, and hopefully they find this woman and her children, then that alleviates this one. But otherwise, scenario number 3 is the only way to go. And then, they have to eat the $200 million and eat another $200 million doing another film with a new actor at a later date, as they hopefully can rebuild their DCEU films. Of course, Grant Gustin was trending. Whoever they would get to replace him is rather, it doesn't really matter at this point. The idea of replacing him is definitely going to happen, I think, no matter all 3 of these scenarios. Either one of these, I think they still replace him. And I don't know about Grant Gustin doing it. A lot of people, I don't know. Knock yourselves out. Put him in there, but I don't think so. But so as of now, they still want to release the Flash. It's just depends on what happens. What else is there? And they're held hostage by Ezra Miller's meltdown. But Zaslav said he's seen the Flash, Black Adam, and Shazam 2. We are very excited about them. We've seen them. We think they're terrific. And we think we can make them even better. Yeah. So, reshoots abound. Already we know, of course, Aquaman doesn't mention that one here. But I think there's some reshoots for Black Adam. Some hope it's Henry Cavill doing a cameo. I don't know about that, but maybe. And I think there's going to be some reshoots for Shazam 2. But the Flash is the one. How many reshoots? The whole thing? Again, it's more than likely cost prohibitive at this point. So that's the only thing. It cannot be reshot. It could. It's just a matter of the money. And, that's enough to stop that from happening. So it's just not a good place to be. And you just got to hope for the best. But at this point, I don't know. It's all very sad. Very bad. So, stay tuned.